Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Dream World podcast. Some fun updates. I'm going to be on the radio, appearing on the Dream Journal podcast with Dr. Catherine Bell from Experiential Dreamwork. This podcast will be broadcast in the Santa Cruz area at 90.7 FM, but you can also hear it online, streaming live at ksqd.org. We'll be talking about some of my favorite dream-related topics. You can tune into the conversation next weekend, Saturday, May 25th, 10 a.m. Pacific time or 1 p.m. Eastern. So depending where you are in the world, you might have to do the math, but it's going to be next weekend. As for today's episode, I'm here with Emma Peters, who's here on behalf of Lucid Lab Bern, a small and dedicated dream lab in Switzerland. They are actively recruiting lucid dreamers in the area, and Emma is here to share a bit about what they study in the lab. They're a really awesome research lab creating a community of lucid dreamers interested in exploring their dreams and helping science move forward. I'm excited to hear about your studies with the neuroscience and lucid dreaming. How did you get interested in lucid dreaming to begin with?
I know a lot of other lucid dream researchers were like, oh, I know this phenomenon, lucid dreaming, and now I want to get really into it. For me, it was more not by accident, just coincidence. I guess in high school, we had to read some science books, and I read Oliver Sacks's book, The Man Who Mistook His Wife for a Hat. And at this point, I'm 14 or something. And then I read about all these bizarre brain states, and I was like, okay, yeah, this might be something. So I go to study biology, which obviously includes like also biodiversity, microbiology, all this stuff. And then I had my first brain course, and then I was already like, yeah, this is it. And then I needed to find an internship. So I looked around and wanted to find the weirdest subject I could find near me, kind of, whether it was like hallucinations or drugs or whatever it was that is a little bit more like strange, bizarre brain states. And I was at the time located or studying in Nijmegen in the Netherlands. And there is Martin Dreester's lab, which is a really cool lab and pretty big and in this great institute. And then I saw lucid dreaming. I was like, okay, this sounds pretty strange. Let's give it a try. And I never left pretty much. So I did my bachelor work there, and then I stayed research assisting and doing my master's thesis. And this was the first job where I was excited for it to be Monday, where I was like, okay, you need to pay attention now because this is something that fits me very well. And I'm still doing this work today. I'm doing exactly the same as I did during this bachelor internship. And that's what I wanted. So I'm very happy that I'm still doing this. It didn't spawn with lucid dreaming. It spawned with, okay, I want something strange. I want something weird. And then Martin's lab happened to be next to my campus or in my campus. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. And then I fell in love. So, yeah.
I love that. Yeah. If you were excited for Monday, then you're definitely passionate about it.
Exactly. And then I was like, okay, you need to remember this. You need to save this. Because, that feeling, obviously, you don't have that easily with like whatever restaurant jobs or like I've never had that before. And I was like, okay, it's almost Monday. I can return back to work. I can work more on this project. Yeah. And that's all you want in a job, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. So have you had lucid dreams after that or since then?
No, actually, I talked about this with other dream researchers at the conference last year, that I've never had a lucid dream before. I think I'm the only one who's still, actually 3 weeks ago, I think I had my first one. But I always joke like I'm the only lucid dream researcher who has no idea what they're talking about. Obviously, I've been working on this subject. When did I start this internship? 2017, I think. So it's been a while. And I think about this the whole day, this is all I do. And even then, I don't get lucid dreams. Like there's nothing more you can do.
Wow. I mean, you definitely know what you're talking about. You're still a professional.
But I've had many dreams where it's very strange. And it feels like my dream character is playing as if it would be lucid. So obviously I talk about lucid dreaming all the time. I have to instruct participants, like, what is it? What do you need to do? What do dream signs look like? All that stuff. And I have dreams where my dream character is acting like, it's reading a piece of text and then the letters change while I'm reading it, like the language changes. And then I say out like, look, this is a dream sign. This is what we were talking about. But it doesn't feel like a real lucid dream. It just feels like my character's like acting as if it would be in a lucid dream. And I've had this a couple of times where I'm like, I don't know, it may be a pre-lucid dream or something, somewhere on the spectrum, but not fully. But
that's awesome. Yeah, you'll definitely have more lucid dreams eventually. I mean, you said you had one. Were you kind of aware the other day? You said 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, the first one I was like, okay, this felt different. And while I was dreaming, I had these experiences. And for instance, I had this big floating croissant in the air, and I took a bite, and I remember the feeling on my lips and my mouth it was so realistic. And I remember I have to think about this. I have to remember this for my dream journal. And I was very, very aware that I wanted to observe everything perfectly and like note everything down, what it was like. But yeah, it was very fun. Sorry, I don't have a lot of lucid dream experience.
Oh no, it's okay. No need to apologize. I mean, you do have experience. It's just different,
different kind.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm 100% confident that you will eventually increase in lucid dreams with time. Eventually, I mean, I know you've been doing this for a while, but it's just bound to happen. Everybody has a different journey with it. So, do you write your dreams down, anyways? What's your recall like?
My recall is very good. It's always been very good. Yeah, usually I have definitely one. Like my dreams are very vivid, very long. They're very fun. I enjoy dreaming a lot. And I have at least one dream recall per night, obviously, when I only wake up once. But when I, for instance, have to test in the lab and I sleep in the lab, and then I can easily like produce like 4 to 5 really extensive dreams. So that's already a good start, I guess.
Yeah, that's great. You're still a good dreamer. What are you studying in the lab, and how did you come across the lab that you're currently at?
Yeah, so like I said before, I was in Nijmegen with Martin Dreesler. I was doing my master's thesis, and that was during COVID. So before COVID, we were thinking of the subject I'm doing now, but as a master thesis. And then COVID hit and I could do nothing. And then I just resorted to old data and some sleep subject. But that made the possibility that I could do this idea in a PhD format, which is very lucky for me because otherwise I wouldn't have had this. But he knew Daniel Erlacher, with whom I'm working now. And he said, well, would you move to Switzerland? I was like, yeah, sure. And then, we came up with this 4-year project. We wrote the proposal together with the 3 of us. So it was already a good bonding experience. And then we got the money. So then it was done. And then I moved here. And yeah, really lucky and nice. Yeah.
So what is the project? What different things are you looking into, researching and experimenting on?
The main goal is to induce lucid dreaming, like everyone else. We're working on it. And I'm actually at the Sports Science Institute. So everything is very body focused there. Obviously, the motivation there is very sports focused. I'm not specifically sports interested. I like dreaming and lucid dreaming more towards like clinical applications. But it took me into a corner that I really like now, which is very much focused on the connection between the physical and dream body on a like physiological level, which is super interesting. And I'm very happy that I ended up exactly here. So yeah, like many people, we work on many in the field, in the very small field that we're in, working on lucid dream induction, using a very physical approach. So we use stimulation techniques, like physical body stimulation techniques to induce lucid dreaming. And a way to do that, so you have this targeted lucidity reactivation idea where you couple a stimulation, whatever it is, it could be light, it could be audio, whatever you can think of. You couple this to doing a reality check during wakefulness, and then you represent this stimulation during REM sleep, or not during REM sleep, but mostly during REM sleep. And then the aim is to kind of reactivate this connection to reality checking. And this has been done in many different ways before. We're just looking into a more physical aspect. So we did first a study where we need some kind of way to access this dreamer in the dream world. So first we needed to see, okay, what kind of method reaches the dreamer the best? So we used muscle stimulation, so an electrical shock to the forearm muscle, which create this little finger movement, We also used stimulation on the vestibular system. So you create some kind of imbalance or like a vestibular effect. And we also used the vibration on the wrist. And then we compared those and see how do they affect dreams. Now we've done that study, and now we dropped the vibration, and now we're working on the vestibular stimulation and the muscle stimulation, and then coupling this to some kind of reality checking training for a couple of weeks, and then presenting this during a morning nap, and then hopefully inducing lucid dreaming. And then we also have some side projects. We have a lot of bachelor and master students also that have to do their thesis, and they do it with us. And then it's nice that we have space to do kind of niche, weird things. Last year I had a bachelor student who did also this two-way communication thing with the muscle stimulation. So it was like a counting task. So you present the stimulation while people are already lucid dreaming. So when you have lucid dreamers in the lab, they sleep. And when they become lucid, they can signal to us with their eyes some kind of signal that you agreed on before. And you can see this in the EEG recording. So you can timestamp when they become lucid, so they can signal to us, hello, I'm there. And then you can do all kinds of tests. And I thought, okay, this muscle stimulation is quite promising. So let's use that in frequent and skilled lucid dreamers. Stimulate them a couple of times, have them do like a counting task where they signal to us how many times they felt it, which worked, which is very cool and very interesting. And I want to publish this soon, but I would like to have some more data, because obviously it's very hard to find people who are good enough and that everything aligns kind of. But it was possible. It was very interesting. So these like niche, smaller projects, we have also space for, which is very nice, because I also know other labs who are very restricted. They don't have students available and they just have their funded projects, but we can do some extra stuff on the side, which is very nice.
When you do like the muscle stimulation, the finger movements or the vestibular sensation, does the dreamer like feel it in the dream? Their dream body, twitches or whatever?
Yeah, a lot of the vestibular one is very challenging, I have to admit. And I now have a master student who's going to look a little bit more into that, because just the methodology alone is very challenging. And I haven't figured this out very well, how to optimize it. So that's still a little bit unclear. But the muscle stimulation one, I really like. It's very straightforward, and people really report very straightforward dream incorporation. I saw that this has not been published yet, but from the preliminary data, I saw that people, when you compare these different stimulation techniques, the muscle stimulation gets incorporated the most, but also wakes them up the most. So it is quite arousing, and it may sometimes is a little bit too arousing, but people definitely incorporate this into the dream. And especially when they're already dreaming about the lab. So we have a lot of lab dreams in our population, let's say, which is also something I want to get into more, because I think it's could be also some kind of lucid dream technique where you couple being in the lab to doing a reality check, and really training people to, every time they're in the lab, really focus on like, is this real? Am I really here? Because we have so many lab dreams where people say, oh, I was in the lab, and always something is broken, which sometimes is the case with us. So it's not completely off. But especially if they're in there for the first time, like I'd say like 70%, it's not proven numbers, but from my feeling, like a lot of dreams are like, oh yeah, I was in the lab, and then you came in and the electrode broke or the device broke and I had to go outside. And sometimes it's very realistic, but sometimes also they say, I went outside and there was an elephant and I had to pet it, and all kinds of stuff. And we have this all the time. So often it's not even, I think, the stimulation that does the trick. It's the lab experience itself. Just this whole experience of for people who are not in science, or maybe not in like some kind of medical field, it can be very not overwhelming, but very stimulating to be in a lab with all these cables, and then there's like a camera and there's a microphone and there's this device and It doesn't even really matter what you stimulate. So I have this feeling that this lab effect is much stronger than the stimulation itself sometimes. So I do want to get also into this and see, like, can I use this to my advantage. But yeah, people definitely say, oh, my arm went off or something, they say, or it vibrated and da-da-da. But I thought I had already woken up and it still vibrated. And I thought, oh, should I say something? Like, it's all of the same, like, stories all the time.
Interesting. That makes a lot of sense, because being in a lab for an experiment, you're probably thinking about it a lot. There's a lot of like emotions and newness to it. It's very new. So it makes sense that because you're there, you would dream about being there. It's kind of like for me, when I have something really big and important to do the next day, I am most likely going to dream about it, dream about something going wrong or missing it or something, because you're just thinking about it so often. And I'm curious, when you have people come into the lab, is it usually like a daytime nap or is it like a nighttime sleep?
So for our previous study, we did overnights. So the participant would come in the lab at 9. We would have the setup, take like an hour. And then they, at some point, like around 11, they fall asleep. And then you would wait out, like the first REM period is so short, you can't really use it that well. If you do REM awakenings, which we did. So you target like second, third, fourth, how many you can get. So you put an alarm, you wake up at 2-ish or something, and then you wait the whole night and do your stuff. And then at 7, they're gone already. But this was obviously very tiring. And also we use a lot of students who have internships and stuff. It's just very hard on them. Also, and on me personally, it's just last year I was in Canada, in Montreal, with Michelle Carr and Claudia Picard-Delan, and they said, if we never do overnights anymore, just do morning naps. And I was like, yep, I'm not going to debate this for sure. So now I'm really over the overnights. I'm not doing it anymore because you don't get that much more data, I think. So now we just do morning naps. So they come in at 7, they sleep at 8 until 11. So they have also like 4 hours. They can sleep at least until 11. Yeah. So morning naps are much better, much better approach.
That makes sense. Personally, most of my lucid dreams happen between 6 and 10 a.m., like 90% of them. When I'm waking up, or if I wake up around 7 and go back to sleep, that's when I get lucid the most.
Yeah, the magic of the snooze button.
Yeah, exactly. Wow, that's cool. I wish I could participate. I mean, I will be in Netherlands for the conference, so I'll see you there. I know you won't be doing lab stuff, but
it's very fun because we have our own little lab and it's just the 3 of us. So Daniel, my professor, and then me, and then we have another PhD student, Xinlin, from China, and it's just the 3 of us, and we have the whole lab to ourselves. We are in a very lucky position to have all the stuff ready for us. We can do whatever we want, kind of, yeah.
So. Wow, that's great. When it comes to lucid dreaming, what are some of the clinical and like therapeutic applications that you're excited about?
Yeah, so probably the main theme is nightmare therapy. So that's what I'm most excited about. So be able to help people with recurring nightmares, overcome them, battle them, but also having a safe simulation environment for instance, exposure therapy for PTSD or for phobias. It's just like a safe environment where you could be in full control and you could just test stuff, play out scenarios, change them if you don't like them. That's what I'm really interested in. So yeah, those are, I think, the main applications. So really nightmare therapy, changing the nightmare, taking control over whatever is haunting you, let's say, and then the simulation of whatever you want to practice. And then in more like a clinical sense, if you have social anxiety or whatever, that you practice public speaking or PTSD stuff or for those types of therapies.
Yeah, there's so many things you can use lucid dreaming for. So I love it. I'm excited to just see how the research develops over time. And
absolutely.
It's like you said, it's still so niche. I feel like a lot of people in the research and neuroscience field haven't really taken interest on lucid dreaming yet, which is crazy to me because it's so cool.
Yeah, it's really, it's in its baby shoes still. It's, I don't know if that's also in English.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
Yeah. So I'm very excited where it's going to go. I feel like we're really at the beginning. I feel like we're now this lucid dream induction is the main theme. Everyone is working on the induction. And I'm so curious to see what's going to happen if we somehow, move on to the next stage. What's that going to be?
I mean, you're at the forefront. You're like the pioneers of this research.
Yeah.
The research you're doing now, in 10 years, people are going to be like, yeah, Emma and Martin and all these people, one of the first people to research lucid dreaming, and it'll be like in history.
Yeah, I'm really curious how it's going to develop and which route it's going to take.
Yeah. So with the induction, there's a lot of people doing things like you said, the muscle stimulation and the electrical signals, and they have headbands and some new technology coming out, mostly for the lab, but also some people working on some things that are going to be like for the general public. What are your general thoughts on like this emerging dream related technology?
I think most of them, they obviously need verification studies, but I am a little bit, I'm on the fence because I feel like the researchers who create this kind of perfectly cultivated environment to do the lucid dreams don't even have the skills to get them super reliably and with a high percentage of certainty. So I'm a little bit hesitant how this works in a home setting with a device that is not perfectly. It's made obviously for the purpose of lucid dreaming, but I'm hesitant, but it is cool. But I also think, everyone is very excited about lucid dreaming. We're all doing the induction stuff. So it's also cool to maybe be able to work together with people at home or some kind of collaboration between in-lab lucid dream cultivation and people who do it at home. But I am hesitant because we're all still so new to it and we're all still finding ways to optimize it, how reliable any induction method is. And that includes my own research. That includes also headbands or sleep wearables or wristbands or whatever it is. But I like the idea of coming together with researchers, but also people at home who can use whatever wearable they choose and help the search. But I'm critical of all methods, so that includes also at-home methods or wearables or
I think there's definitely going to be pros and cons like with anything, and I think it's inevitable, for the technology to develop, but I do think that it would be cool to be able to study at home. I think that the results would be much more significant if people are in their home environment versus in a lab. I actually just got this headband that is like a at-home EEG reader headband that I've been testing out. So
which one is it?
Enchanted Wave.
Oh, I've never heard of it before.
Yeah, so I've been testing it out, and it has like a mobile app that shows you the data and stuff. So I have to get better at reading EEG data. But I really want to see. Yeah, definitely. I'll be bringing it to the conference. So
cool. Yeah.
We want to test it out and see how it works. Yeah, because I want to see if I'm having REM lucid dreams, non-REM lucid dreams, and what kind of brain waves I'm getting. So
what was the name again?
Enchanted Wave. Yes, you can look it up. It's pretty cool, actually. It's very small and lightweight, and surprisingly, I slept pretty good with it.
Oh yeah, that's also big pro.
Yeah, it's not like the big head caps with all the wires and stuff.
Yeah, very nice. Yeah, I'm excited for it to also spread to a wider audience where people can try it out, maybe not upload their data, but their experience, and would be super cool to broaden kind of our little niche group of researchers.
Yeah, exactly. I'm definitely trying to get in the field and do research. So especially as a lucid dreamer, I feel like it would be cool to just get involved. So, I'd want to help out as a participant because I have so many lucid dreams. I'm like, I can use this for research.
Yeah. Your brain is very valuable to us.
Right, exactly. And to me too, because I love research and I love lucid dreaming. So I might as well do that. I have some listeners in Europe and in Netherlands or Switzerland. So maybe, are you looking for participants currently?
Always.
Cool.
Yeah. So we are always looking for skilled and frequent lucid dreamers. They're rare gems among us. So absolutely. We have, also an Instagram page. Yeah. And we're, like I said, we're pretty flexible with experimenting. So also if people want to do something or say, hey, I would like to be measured and I have this, I can lucid dream and I want to try out this, or we have a lab to our disposal. It's ours and we can do whatever we want pretty much. So we can just play around, I guess.
That's awesome. I love it. So yeah, I'll definitely put the Instagram and your email in the links so that people can reach out if they're in the area.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Emma. It's been so nice talking to you.
You're welcome.
And I'm excited to meet you this summer.
Yeah, me too.
Awesome. Well, I will see you soon.
Okay, see you soon.